Welcome back, gamers.
Okay. Ready? Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome to Car Conversations
Brown Girl Edition.
with Alicia
And Isabel.
and
Raina.
Who are you, Raina?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm Alicia's younger sister.
guest speaker today.
What?
Hey. We thought it'd be fun to have one more brown girl to add to the mix.
Yep. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you do and who you are?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm Raina. I'm Alicia's younger sister. I'm 20, and I currently study. Do I say the location?
It's up to you, so it's up to you.
I go to Arts University, Bournemouth, and I study illustration.
We actually both went to the same college for our art foundation in Brighton.
Yes, loved it.
'Cause
Best
it's
year.
like
It's
UK's
number one.
Number one, yeah. To Brighton.
I didn't really feel like it, but yeah.
Don't say that.
Anyway.
We're
Yeah.
talking about growing up with strict parents.
A very relatable topic to most people of colour.
And Izzy doesn't have siblings apart from us.
That's so
I
true.
guess.
So you're my siblings. I think it will actually be an interesting topic because there's an age difference. You're 5 years younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like some things that we've experienced you might not have, or it might be experienced in a different way. And I think it'll be interesting to see like what your parents let slide.
And the difference
Raina.
between me and my other sister who's not here, hopefully we'll get on to another episode, but the difference between me growing up and her growing up.
And also like maybe like an only child experience
Yeah.
as well.
And the difference between
Yeah.
that. I feel like we need a little bit of explanation of like brown parents and maybe what we think the main difference between brown parents and non-brown parents are.
To be honest, like I can only really think of similarities that like a lot of us ethnic kids share.
Yeah.
Like lack of communication, which I mean it could be said about like most parents, but lack of communication, there's a lot of like trauma that they hold from possibly being an immigrant, like immigrating to a Western country, and navigating being away from your family, having to make new friends, and also like raising a child that will have Western traits.
Yeah.
I think that's like the main similarities I can think of, but I don't know about the differences.
The thought process of how they deal with things, what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, and then
Yeah.
you go to school and then your friends that are not brown are like allowed to do this. Even just going out to town on the weekend, like I wasn't allowed to do it until God, like I was so old, probably like year 9 or
Yeah.
something, and even that was like make sure you message like when you're on your way and when you get there and what you're doing and where you are, and then you have to come back within like 2 hours.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think that was the same with me, even though
Yeah.
there's a 5-year age gap. I think it wasn't until like year 9, 10 that I was actually going out with my friends. Mum and dad, their main thing was, I can't be asked to drop you.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
yeah.
Let's be honest, I can't be asked to drop you. And then it's like, oh, I don't want to come home this late. I don't want to do this. So it was literally just like, you're out for 2 hours. That's it. Come back home, and then you have to cook dinner. And,
Yeah.
you know.
It's like, oh, I got invited to a house party, but you have to be home by 10. I'm like, ma'am, it starts at 10 o'clock.
Literally.
Yeah.
And if they do let you go to that party, and then if you get invited to something else like on the same week,
Can't do things 2 days in a row.
hell no. You've already
way.
gone to that party, you can't go to something else.
2 days in a row, let alone what you went this month.
Oh yeah, it can be like that sometimes too. Like you already went out.
I do remember I got invited to a Halloween party. I was in like year 6, and it was like our whole family, so it was like a huge thing. So mum and dad would chill with it, but you guys also had a Halloween party the same day. I
think I remember
swear,
that.
I came home an hour later. Mum was like, "You have to be home." Dad picked me up, and I was like, "What the hell?" He was like, "Did you want to stay longer?" I was like, "Did I want to stay longer? Of course I wanted to." Like I just took off my shoes. Do you get? I was like, "What?" I just took off my shoes. I was like, "What do you mean?" And then literally half an hour later, he was like, "Oh, we're going to pick up Alicia and Trish." I said, "Girl, like
Yeah.
what the?" And we're all just sitting there in like a Halloween costume, just like fucking idiots.
Yeah, looking like
like sitting at home, like what the hell?
I think there was also like a fear of like not being safe and stuff, but I feel like we live in a pretty good area. I don't know if it's like an Indian parents thing, like in their head that it's like unsafe, especially for girls to like walk. And I know I'm not saying that's untrue, because it definitely there is cases of that, but they could just hear one story and then you're not allowed to do something because
Yeah.
that one person's like
Yeah.
something's happened to
Literally,
them, so you're not allowed to go for the rest of your life.
Literally in this last week, mum literally messaged me. She was like, "There's been a murder at this train station," and I was like, "Okay." She was like, "I'm not telling your dad."
That
I was
is
like,
so real. They're
I was
not
like,
telling
yeah.
your dad. Like,
I was like,
don't
what do
tell
you
the rest of
mean?
the family, otherwise, like, it could happen. Like,
Yeah.
it's so true.
And then she was like, "Be careful, right? Because it's
Yeah, for
local."
sure.
Yeah.
And then a week later, she goes, "Oh, it was the ex-boyfriend." And I was like, "You're looking at me like I've got a bloody ex-boyfriend that's gonna come and murder me. Like I'm calm.
No,
don't worry."
we've just been watching like Worst Ex Ever or something.
Yeah,
Oh my
I've been
God.
obsessed with it.
There's like the nitty gritty of like the differences between being brown or not. I feel like having a boyfriend and things like that's like no, and then like you go to school and it's like, oh, this person's dating this person and this person's dating this person, and it's like if I even mention the word boy or like any kind of partner,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, I remember distinctly when I was growing up, my mum said that I could have a boyfriend when I turned 15.
Yeah, that's out.
Okay,
Turn 15,
crazy.
out
No, but
in.
listen,
Then it goes now when you're 18.
Yes, that's what happened.
Yeah.
So on my 15th birthday, I like blew out my candles, and as a joke, I was like, okay, so now I'm allowed a boyfriend, haha, which was already a risque joke for me.
Yeah,
'cause
why
I
you
was
said
like,
that? You
I
said
know,
that
it was like
in
a
front
lot.
of everyone.
I remember my mum saying, yeah, not anymore, like it's 18 at least. And I
Yeah.
was like,
But then it
what?
goes, and then
it keeps going higher until
Yeah.
you reach about like 25, and then they're like, okay, so when are you getting married?
No, yes, you know, so it goes like from like 15 or 16, and then it goes, oh, when you're 18, or when you're 21, or when you get married. I'm like, why does my marriage have anything to
How
do
do we
with...
jump from
Yeah.
you can't talk to anyone to okay, when are you getting married?
Yeah.
Make
And you
it
know,
make
there's
sense.
there's like a big jump. As soon as I feel like you're after 20, and it's like, oh, are you going to be with someone? Like, when are we going to have like a wedding or whatever? I'm like,
Yeah.
where was the in-between of like, now I'm allowed to see someone?
Yeah.
But it's because that's not an Eastern tradition. Like, this is Western.
Yeah.
To have a boyfriend is like Western.
Yeah, to grow up and have them around for dinner and have your parents get to know them and have your families mingle is such a like foreign concept for
Yeah.
me, because I didn't experience that until past 20 years old. Like,
Yeah.
But also there's a
Yeah.
difference of, because especially like our mum, she grew up in England. She grew up quite westernized as well.
But she's
So
not. She's not.
She's not, but
Yeah.
I feel like our parents, in a sense, especially with like going on to the generational difference, they're quite alright with like me dating someone. I'm not, but like they always question me about it. But then there's the fear of, yeah, you can have someone, but you can't just bring someone home and then not be with them the next week. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they
Yeah.
have to stick around. They have to be someone that
Yeah.
you're actually
If
gonna
you-
be with.
If you introduce someone to your family, it should be the person that you are going to marry in
Yeah.
their eyes. And to be honest, I understand there is parts of the culture and some of the thought process that I understand. It's difficult to introduce someone, and if you're not serious and then you're getting your family involved, and then like next month you got another one and another one. And I know that's common for people,
Yeah,
but
that's
like
quite
that's not
normal.
common for the Asian community, I would think. But then that also creates pressure, I think. Like when I introduced my partner, it's like
true.
pressure.
If you are dating, like secretly, it is pressure to then hide those secret
Yeah.
dates that you go on and things like that, because you don't want to tell your parents that you're dating some
Yeah.
random boy that may not be the one. When I told my mum that I was going on dates, she was quite shocked, and I had to sort of tell myself that it was fine, because she's just gonna have to get over it if she ends up wanting me to find a husband, if I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah. And I think having strict parents, it's so common for like Asian kids to just hide so many things.
Yeah.
There's a saying, isn't it, that like
Yeah.
strict parents raise sneaky kids.
Yeah.
And it's true, because I mean, I actually never sneaked out anywhere.
Yeah, same.
I think that
Yeah. Did you? Oh. For parents watching, turn it off
it
now.
was once, but no one was home. Like I only had to sneak out because of the Ring doorbell.
When?
What had happened was, at this point I couldn't drive. One of my friends at the time could drive, and we'd always link up at like my other friend's house. Like we messaged saying, oh, he was finishing work, let's meet up or something. I was like, yeah, calm. I snuck out the back door. I knew in my head I should have called mum, because my parents will call every day. Not even call FaceTime. So like you literally can't get away with niche.
That's so crazy.
In the toilet, just...
You literally like can't get away with anything.
No personal space, no boundaries.
literally. And so I knew I should have called like, oh hi, yeah, just got back from work, gonna go sleep, so I could have got away with it and spent the night. Nope. No, my mum starts calling me 10 minutes after I've left the house. I'm like, it's fine, leave it. 20 minutes, I'm at my mate's, like, they're calling. I'm like, shit, should I just go upstairs, answer in your room? I was like, no, they're gonna know, they're so gonna know. My mate had to speed me home.
No way.
Yeah, he sped me home. He parked up there. I ran through the back door, jumped into my bed, put my duvet over my head, and called mum. And he was like, "You're all right? Yeah, all right. We just wanted to call, see what you're doing. All right, yeah, good night." That was it. And I was like, "Are you joking?"
The amount of stress.
And they were calling, and I kept saying, "I'm in the shower."
You know
what?
what?
You know what? Yeah. No, you can't.
So, okay, when this comes out, then what?
Just also like the difference in like her going out and me and my sister going out, it's crazy. Like it's non-existent now.
I feel like there's also a difference where I'm really open with my mum and dad.
Same.
No, in terms of like, I'm more open with mum and dad. I'll just be like, I've just shown mum and dad I've been on dates and stuff like that. I'll tell dad about the guys I'm talking to. Whereas for you were quaking at the thought of telling them you had a boyfriend.
I could never do that.
They assume. They're like, well, you're hiding it. You've got a boyfriend. You've got a secret boy. I'm like, stop rubbing it in. I really don't.
I've been asked this question, and I don't know if you guys have, but if you don't have a boyfriend at a certain age as well, then they're like,
then
okay,
it's like,
are you gay?
Yeah.
Like, are you
this week?
I've moved from not being allowed to have a boyfriend to not finding a boyfriend quick enough to being possibly gay to then being like, okay, well, you better hurry up because you need to get married. The change is so quick, and you don't get told because you're still in this like kid mindset of like, okay, are they okay with it now? Like, would they be okay with it now?
Even still me now, I'm like,
It's like such small things that we end up overthinking that like
for no reason.
Like our Western counterparts wouldn't even like think about. They'd just be like, okay, this is like normal.
I think it's also just like what society thinks is like normal. Like the process of being with someone, it should be like marriage before having kids and moving out and all those things, and like a lot of people don't do that now, which is like totally fine. But like if I was to have like kids before marriage, I think that would be a big no basically.
I almost feel like where in certain places like your parents are from, there's certain levels of strictness. Like,
oh really? Like
I maybe like regionally, I don't know, like if one is like it. Sorry, sussering.
Remix.
I feel like they're all strict. Asian, African, they're all strict. Let's be honest. Actually, I feel like it's all the same level. It's all just different flavors. You know what I mean?
The thing is, it's different flavors, but there's always a switch. Like, fair enough, I can't speak for everyone because there is probably families that are like having super strict parents, but like the majority of people that I know have gone from like having really strict to like completely flipping when they get to a certain age. It's a breath of fresh air because like we are allowed to go see people, we are allowed to go out, we are allowed to do XYZ, right? It's not for everyone, but I feel like in general, Asian parents are like known to be more strict than non-Asian ones, basically.
It can also be like the level of, I don't know, like whitewashed you are can affect it. But then in your case, you say that your mum was still quite strict even though she grew up here.
Oh yeah, my mum was so strict when we
mum was more strict than dad. Like,
No, they were in different aspects strict. So my mum was like more strict with like house stuff, and you got to help with this and the cleaning and the cooking, and like we are there like making rotli at like age 6. But my dad's was more strict in not letting us go out. He didn't want us to basically go out and like to town or even just go to house parties and stuff. Oh, there's my dad.
Speaking of the devil, open the window.
Well, we're just filming, so
you can't see nothing.
Yeah, but it's just us. Anyway, so there's just different levels of strictness. I don't know, what about your parents? Was there a difference, or was it some people just have one strict parent and then, you know?
I think my parents have different levels of strictness. So my dad gets angry at specific things, but it takes a lot for him to get angry, whereas my mum can get quite annoyed very quickly. So little things set her off very quickly, and then she's immediately angry, and then her anger dissipates very quickly. So it's very different. But
that's like me.
yes, low key. But you're both hotheads. Like, I have a specific story that I remember. My friends were talking about a crush, and we were using Gmail chat. Now, any oldies watching this will know the OG Gmail chat.
We're just emailing each other at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we were emailing, but like there was like a chat feature, chat function, right? So we were like chatting online. My 2 friends from school were making fun of me and being like, oh, you have a crush on this boy and blah, blah, blah. And they were like typing in like really cheeky messages about like me and him and like things we'd get up to. Like, bear in mind, I'm in year 6, so this is quite like cheeky for the time. But I remember my mum sort of like walking by because she was thinking I was doing homework, and I was like trying to like hide what I was doing, and my messages were popping up like while she was standing behind my shoulder, and she got so furious like really quickly, and she was like, what are you typing? Like, do you even know these words? Because my friend specifically wrote like, I know you want to have like sex with, and then his like my crush's name, but she wrote sex like SE3X like to be sneaky, even though it was very obvious what we were talking about. I remember her saying, you don't even know what these words mean, you're so young, and she was like, wait till dad gets home. And then like that's where the real
that was the biggest threat ever.
I remember being really scared because it didn't take my my dad didn't get angry at specific things, but this, I was like, oh my God, he's going to be furious. And like, I remember him like not really talking to me for a few days. Well, not a few days, maybe like 2 days, where he was just like not really himself. And I feel like that is almost worse than being yelled at, like on the day. So like they have different levels.
I hate no communication.
Yeah.
But that also just shows, and also my dad opening the door like twice now, there's just no boundaries. It's like, oh yeah, I'm working from home.
Oh, working from home as like a person of color does not like count.
Like,
if you live at home, you're not working from home. You'll be taken to the shops. You'll be asked to do errands. Like they don't understand that concept. They think you're goofing around.
My dad's like, still to this day, he's like, are you working tomorrow? I'm like, yeah. So, oh, but you're not going to the office. I'm like, I'm still working, just at home.
Yeah.
They also think that about me with uni. Like, I mean, I get like uni is a piss up, but it is also university. Do you know what I mean? Every time he'd face it, especially during first year, he's always like, well, you're just going to uni just to drink, aren't you? No, I am actually getting my education, love.
Yeah.
Like, I am going there. Like, I'd send him some of my work and he'd be like, oh, actually, you are actually going to university. And then he calls me like 50 times. This is the thing. He calls me like 50 times during the day. I'm like, Dad, I'm in lectures. I'm in the library. I'm at uni. I'm on campus. And he's like, oh, like, I'm not pissing around all the bloody time. Like, in the evenings, yeah, sure. But that's what the evenings are for.
Yeah.
Please.
I would say that's another thing about ethnic strict parents. Is like privacy, no boundaries. I mean, even with my family, we have each other on, what's it called, like the tracking.
Oh,
like,
really?
We have that with each other.
What, i360 or whatever?
No,
it's called?
it's like on Find My iPhone.
Oh, okay.
So like all of our phones are attached to it. So sometimes if I'm messaging my mum when I'm on the train back home, like coming back from like a day out, I'll be like, I'm almost here. Like I'll say the station that I'm near, and she'll be like, oh, I know, I can see, like on the chat, and I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't against the idea when my mum brought it up, because I was like, I'm not really hiding anything.
Yeah,
anymore,
exactly.
anyway.
Yeah.
But it's still a bit like, oh, like I really can't lie.
Yeah. I feel like that privacy thing may also be linked with culture and where we're living, because I think there's this thing that they think like, oh, you're going to be influenced by like basically any person that's not brown, and they think, oh, we're just like dumb and we're going to get influenced. Not that half of the shit is bad anyway, like, oh, going to your friend's birthday or something, or house party. I understand that there's like a fear of drugs and alcohol when we're like really young, but for me it's that they assume that we are not capable of using our brains, basically. And I think when that's pushed on you, it's the same thing of like having strict parents and then you just rebel, and then you're like, why? Might as well do that anyway if you think I'm doing that.
Yeah, and it also like sucks as well, because other than being strict, our parents are pretty good parents. And they've instilled like really good values on us, so you would think that growing up that they would trust that we wouldn't do anything stupid. And to be honest, like, we have talked about this a few times, but there are people I know that are doing way crazier things.
Yeah,
even
definitely.
at uni, even when we were given our free time, we would never do anything like so out there crazy.
Yeah, and if you are, it's all good.
It's
like,
all good too.
You're like, you're choosing to do whatever you want. Obviously, like, please be careful, I guess.
But I feel like a lot of brown parents, at least, they treat you like you're guilty instead of like waiting for you to prove them wrong. Like, they act like you've already proven them wrong sometimes.
That's one of the
It's
main...
like you're set up to fail.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things with me, with like mum and dad. They will always assume that I've done the worst. When I haven't even gone near the worst, you know what I mean? Even still today, like, mum or dad will always be like, oh, you're just gonna do this. Or, oh, it was Raina did this. And even with like the whole dating thing, like, they will always say, oh, Raina's got a boyfriend, she just won't tell us. Or Raina's a lesbian because Raina doesn't have a boyfriend. Like, I'm just like, where are you getting these accusations from? And then they're like, when I go out, they're like, oh, who did you go out with? I'm like, the same 3 people I always go out with. Dad's like, no, you're lying. Why would I lie? Like, please.
The lack of trust, even though we haven't broken their trust, you know?
There's a difference between when I go out at my age and when you went out. I go out for drinks quite a lot, I can admit that. But whenever I'm like, oh, I didn't drink that much, I came back sober, or if I go upstairs to mum and dad and they're like, I'm like, hi, or night, whatever, they're always like, you're drunk. I'm like, I had like one drink, please.
You
like,
might as well just be at that point.
Exactly. If I'm going to be accused of it, I might as well be.
To be
like,
fair, I didn't even go out until uni. Like, I didn't go out. Like, I had like one in like thing, and that was like come home by 10.
Yeah.
So I just me and my sister just end up saying no to everything, because we were like, we're not going to be allowed. And then talking about timings, and also, why do you have to tell them 10 times?
Don't get me started on this.
I'm going here on Friday. We telling them on Monday. We telling them on Wednesday. We telling them on the day.
Yeah.
And then when you're like ready and about to leave, we've got a bag on. Where are you going?
Just now.
What do you mean?
Even just now. Dad called me an hour before you came, yeah? And he was like, oh, what are we having dinner? I said, I don't know, but like me and Benna and Izzy are filming today for their podcast. He's like, okay. And then mum calls me again. She's like, what are you eating? And I was like, I don't know, but me, Ben and Izzy are filming for the podcast at this time. And then I opened the door when they both came home, and they're like, where are you going?
Because she's got makeup on.
I was like, I'm twitching. I'm actually twitching at the minute. Like, what do you mean? Do you have memory loss? Like, permanent? Like, you're just choosing to not remember.
They'll say yeah when we were younger, and then when it comes to it, we've reminded them. Sometimes they're like, no, we got XYZ going on. Mm-hmm. What do you mean, no, I got my bag and shoes on?
Yeah.
There's one specific time that literally I almost started to cry because of how angry I was. I took a road trip out with my friend to Bournemouth. This was before I went to uni there. Bearing in mind, the commute to Bournemouth from here is about, 2 hours?
Yeah,
but over
it's not
that,
long.
sometimes with traffic, 3 hours. I think that specific day, it took us 3 hours to drive out because there was so much traffic. We were, going to go out that night. We hadn't even started to go. It was still, 7 o'clock. Mum and Dad's calling me, when are you coming home? I told them 3 times before I'm staying the night. I was like, what do you mean when am I coming home? Dad's asking when you're coming home. And I was like, Mum, I told you I'm staying. Why would I drive all the way up to Bournemouth for 3 hours to not stay the night? And she was like, well, your dad told me. I was like, do you listen? Why are you listening to each other, not me? Please. And then I was just getting yelled at.
And then I get, when's Raina coming? I said, am I Raina?
Oh, God.
I don't know. Don't think so.
You're lucky you don't have siblings.
I know.
Do you get, more of the attention, or is it okay because they're like, oh,
I have had moments like that where it doesn't even matter if you're an only kid or a kid with loads of siblings. Your parents just aren't listening to you.
Yeah.
But at the end but it's true. A lot of the attention does fall on me since I'm the only one there.
Yeah.
So for the most part, they do remember.
Yeah.
They often dwell on that. Sometimes they can go into the negative.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
they're
yeah.
oh, well, you've got stuff going on. So I can't do this now. Or
Yeah.
I have to drop you here. Especially when I was younger.
'Cause of you.
The holding, the threat of dropping. I was like, oh my God, sorry, you have to make a 10-minute drive.
You'll all notice when I'm gone. Shut up.
Oh, that's another one. Holding their death over your head.
Yes.
When I'm gone, you're going to remember these moments and feel bad. Why are you guilt-tripping me for going to see a friend? Or, actually, we need to talk about this because we mentioned it in the first episode, I think.
What?
We weren't allowed a sleepover.
Yeah, what the
Oh
hell?
my
this
gosh,
time.
yes.
You know, we were actually dumb. Crying, and then just I look back and I'm like, if I was if that was my younger sister, and you were crying at sleepover at someone's house, I'd just actually laugh at you.
I was crying because I wanted to stay at our nanny's house.
Yeah.
My mother's mother, okay?
She's like, you're not allowed.
I got my way. I got my way.
Of course you did.
But I think it was 2 hours into the night. I was like, nah, actually, I want to go home.
Oh my God, after all that.
So I was like, nah, actually, I want to go home. So I think Mum and Dad should come meet me.
Raina gets away with
wasted
everything. She'll be like, can I do this? Yeah.
No.
Compared to you guys.
Yeah,
right?
now, when I was Raina's age, I was still asking. But now, because she has older sisters, that process is speeded down the line.
But also, there's that being
sped down the line.
speeded.
Speeded.
There's that, but there's also because Mum and Dad had put so much pressure on you two when they raised you, they kind of forced you to raise me. So they didn't really raise me. These two did. So they raised me, which is why I can get away with a lot more because I didn't really put things through Mum and Dad.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
There were some things that also I couldn't ask my mum about. Even when I started my period, I was asking Trish what's going on. Mum, I just asked
really?
Mum. I was like, Mum,
Trish.
this,
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, ask Trish because she's done it. I've told her.
I mean, I was with my mum when it happened and
yeah.
I had to, there was no one to
Yeah.
ask. So that's so crazy. And I remember this is TMI, but I got my period quite late when I was 13 or 14.
Mine was super late actually.
Really, everyone I knew had got it already.
No, that's
I
normal
think I was,
age.
yeah, I think I was that age.
As soon as you get
Okay.
past 14, it can get late,
I
14,
see.
15.
But I was on a plane. I remember going to the bathroom before getting on the flight because I didn't want to go on the flight. And I remember seeing my underwear and being like, what the? I thought I had shat myself. Because obviously it's not bright red when you first start.
Yeah.
This is really TMI for people that don't have a period.
Don't know.
Some people, I feel when they start bleeding, they don't get the, dark blood.
yeah.
But that's what happened. And I remember thinking, what the hell have I done?
Yeah, you cut yourself.
No, I remember thinking,
That's so
have I
embarrassing.
pooed
Just
myself?
doo-dooed
And I was
myself.
yeah, I really thought, at my big age, I've pooed myself. Because I did not think that was, the starting signs of a period.
It's okay, Raina wet herself when she was
Oh!
Hang on a minute. What? remember when you doing the dishes and you like...
Wait, hold on. I love that you decided to bring that up.
There was no respect.
no need.
There was so much disrespect in that statement.
So, also, let me just quickly say, that is so relatable because maybe we need I think we should do a whole episode on, like,
Wetting myself?
No, not wetting myself, but just,
because
like,
I don't. You guys can chat about that.
weird things that...
BeReal. Sorry.
Oh my god. You can do it.
No, okay, you can just wait until after. You want to do it on time?
You don't have to be in it.
Yeah, so you managed to figure it out with your mum. She must have helped you.
Yeah, she helped me, and it was awkward at first, but she was like, "Oh, it's fine, you know, like don't worry about it, like this is normal."
Yeah.
But I feel like it would have been nice to hear it from a sister rather than a mum because it was awkward.
I don't know. Based off of that point, my mum personally, I thought was like mum. Like, it wasn't like friendship when we were younger.
Yeah.
It was mum. She was so strict to the point, like, where I was, like, known as, like, the gobby kid because I just didn't like some stuff that was happening in the house. Like, you know, that's cultural stuff like, oh, you should do this. I said, why am I doing everything? Why am I doing the clothes? Why am I doing everything? Like, you know, when you're a kid, you're just, like... I was just, like, chatting loads and it would, like...
Like talking back.
Yeah, and they say, like, oh, you're, like, why are you talking back? Why are you giving me mouth and all of this stuff? Because, like, they don't actually have an answer as to why you're doing all of this. Like, as a child, I'm literally doing, like, full-on, like, chores, which is totally fine.
You're a housewife at the age of 5. Like.
But, like, my mum was so strict to the point where even sometimes, like, if she got annoyed at me on the way back from school or picking... Get out the car, walk home.
Yeah, the amount of time.
God,
Walk
really?
home. You know when you open the door and you're like, she's going to tell you to close the door, yeah? No, I'm getting out and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm actually walking home.
Yeah, there was one or two times she did it to me.
I'm never going home. I said, what are you going to do if I never go home? And you know, you just talk to yourself when you're walking home. Then going full circle back to what Izzy was first saying at the start of this podcast is there's no apology. It's just...
So true.
It's just nothing.
Big circle. The
It's
circle of life.
And those times I didn't even get fruit or like, you know when you like, sometimes I'd be so annoyed that I don't want to eat dinner or something, but then I'm like, I actually don't care, I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat food.
Yeah.
But the way my mum would apologize was like in the middle of the night when I'm asleep, she'd come in and just like check on me and then like stroke my head.
Yeah.
That's so
I
real.
said, why are you coming in the middle of the night?
That's so real. It's when you can't say anything
She
back.
can't say it. Yeah, she doesn't want to tell me to my face. So she'll come in when I'm sleeping.
There's one time this happened, like you pissed mum off so bad after Kumon, right? So mum made you walk home after Kumon.
What do you all know about Kumon?
What do you guys know about Kumon?
Who works there? All of us.
Kumon, and you had to walk home, and me and Trish, I don't know about Trish actually, but I was waiting at the door. I was like, Bella's gonna get kidnapped.
Kidnapped.
And then Dad came home. I think either Dad came home after you or just before you. And he found out, he got so mad at mum. You were like, you know, like,
yeah, you know when you're like so sad that you start like can't breathing.
They're like yelling at you to calm down. And then Dad got mad. To be fair, Dad did. Like, Dad was like, don't
my
do
babies.
that. Yeah.
To be honest, I was going to say my dad's a bit like that. My dad's very against like slapping as a punishment.
That's a brown thing.
That is-
Well,
that
and
is-
a brown,
well-
and not just brown. That's like a.
It's not brown.
That's like a
because I know like
brown-
Latina moms and black moms and
African,
you know,
Indian.
Balkan.
The thing is the shoe throwing that is more. I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest, my mum. I mean, should I really be saying?
Yeah, can we say, how far can we go?
How far can we go?
My mum chucked an empty suitcase across the room just because she was angry.
She
My
chucked a
mum's-
suitcase at my head.
My mum's done like her slipper. She's taken like a wooden spoon.
This is normal for
This
those of you that
yeah.
are not brown watching. I know it's not normal.
It's not
but
normal,
like
it's not right.
Like
I know it's like a hotly debated
We're not
topic,
advocating for
and
it, though.
We're not advocating. Like I'm very against it, and I don't
Yeah.
think I'll hit my child at all. Like
Yeah,
I'm not really for that. It was very normal back in the day, and it also wasn't like you're beating your kid up. It was more like a disciplined little spank, you know, like a little like you're being naughty.
yeah, I wasn't beat up.
Little.
Yeah, and it wasn't too hard usually, but for us, we were young and it was painful, and it was like, why am I getting smacked for spilling a drink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Why
yeah,
am I getting smacked for like knocking myself on something and now I'm getting
Well,
yelled
you
at?
that for like falling over.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell?
How am I supposed to know I was gonna fall over?
I just remember like my mum would like I was sitting next to her doing maths, like she was teaching me maths, and she was getting so frustrated with me that she slapped me on the leg. First she had pinched me, which I was like,
I was getting pinched in between my thighs.
Yeah,
why
the
are you
thighs.
pinching me? Like, what the hell is the pinching about? I think the pinching is so crazy. So she pinched me first, like, to be like, can you just concentrate? And I was like, okay, I am concentrating. I just don't understand. And
I just don't get it.
You pinching me is not going to magically make me understand
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I got so angry that I smacked her on the face. And to be fair, it wasn't that hard, but it was hard enough for her eyes to bulge out of her head and for me to get up and run to my room. Like, I ran so fast and she was chasing me. And
That's like my worst fear, getting chased.
It was my worst fear. She chased me up, like, we had spiral staircases with, like, gaps in between. And oh my God, I was like, if I fall now, I'm dead.
Yeah.
And I don't know what my friends
You're
are
dead
doing.
either way, let's be honest.
I mean, dead either way, yeah. And I was crying so bad. Like, I was crying to the point where I was doing that, like, vomit cough where you're like, I think I'm going to throw up.
Yeah.
So I was crying, like against my bedroom door. My mum was like, open the door! How dare you do this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, so my dad came home and he was so mad. And he was like, you've driven our daughter to the point of this because of, like,
okay.
what
See, there's
you...
this understanding here, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we've had to
We
change.
look different.
We look different. We look at, like, worse quality.
Worse.
Worse. Yeah, so slapping and hitting your child is definitely not okay. And I definitely won't be doing it with my kids. And I think we've seen, like, a rise in gentle parenting now.
There's a good in between though, because sometimes gentle parenting, I'm like, your child is not disciplined.
To be honest, I think if gentle parenting is done right, it's really good. There's a difference between gentle parenting and just letting your kid do what they want and calling it gentle parenting. There's no need to slap your kid to teach them how to do something. Like, hitting your kid doesn't help them understand what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
But, you know, that has been our experience with brown parents. Like, the lack of communication, no, like, boundaries, no privacy, not going out, like, hiding things, possibly sneaking out, things like that. But I feel like a lot of people, not just brown people, can relate to this.
Yeah, there's things that we do when we're growing up that we don't want our parents to know, or that they're like, oh, you're not allowed to do that. And then you just do it anyway because...
Yeah. But it was nice it was quite cathartic to be able to just share all of it, like, overshare. And I'm sure our parents listening to this will not love that. Will not love this.
This is something that we didn't mention. The Asian mom stare.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when you're in public, it's just...
And it's scary. That would make me in itself poo myself, like, honestly.
Yeah,
It is scary.
if they look at you, then you should be scared. To be honest, I don't like that because it's like actually having fear of parents.
Yeah,
rather
it's
than,
not great.
Yeah, like I feel like it's like 180 flipped with my parents. Allowed to do everything, have a partner.
We are a lot older
Allowed,
as well.
yeah, like...
But-
And also, like, you know, just staying around, like, my partner's allowed to stay around, but not in the same room. There's just, like, things that are, like, culturally, like, I understand and I agree with, but
yeah.
it's changed a lot. Do you remember that one time when we were supposed to go out in, like, Brighton, and then, like, my dad just got so mad we didn't even go. We just had a sleepover. That was the only time I had a sleepover at Isabel's, was because we were supposed to go out and then didn't.
First time, and you guys were, what, 18, 19?
Yeah.
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 I'm sure there was some other deep-rooted thing going on of that anger that day, but, like, I still haven't even gone out, like, clubbing. We haven't, like, we've been, like, a few times.
And that together, like, not even all of us together.
Yeah.
So that needs to happen.
Yes.
But, I mean, yeah, that is one, like, you know, like, parents being angry at something else and then displacing their anger on you. That is another thing.
You have chosen to have kids, like, please understand the pressure and the, like, responsibility that comes with it, because a lot, I mean, it is, like, seen as, like, something that you have to do is have kids in, like, the Asian or, like, the East.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you're just having it because it's, like, a societal pressure and you're not actually ready to be parents, like, this is so unfair on your kids. It's so unfair.
But it's also, like, this is another thing with, like, the generations, like, moving on. Like, we are more understanding in terms of they're also doing this for the first time. They're
I was
also,
just gonna say that.
They're also, like, raising kids for the first time at every age that we move on to. They're learning who you are as a person as at that age. Like, so of course they're not going to be like, I'm in the in between stage of I don't know whether I should say yes to you or no to you, or how close we should be, and like that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah. And also, like you said, they're doing this for the first time. I'm sure, I mean, regardless of their relationship with their parents, I'm sure there's a lot of resentment there as well with things that they couldn't do, and now we're allowed to do because it's okay in society.
And also it's like, just generationally, we're talking from like someone that's like a person of color. It's like we're what, second generation? No, we're not actually. We're first generation because my mom wasn't born.
Oh
here.
yeah, mum wasn't born.
Which means that like that's very common for people our age. But like it means that my parents were taught different things, but their parents were taught different things. So everyone's like got this, like, if you think about what they've been taught and they're trying to change it, and then growing up in England, which has like, you have to adapt to be and live in the West, because otherwise either you're going to get bullied or you just won't be able to like fit in, and it's not fun because this is your life. So it's like they're dealing with like the pressure of like trying to deal with both, and also we're just growing up trying to deal with both as well, like going home and making sure we do this and we go to these cultural events, but also like we want to go out to the party with our friend. It's just like figuring out how it works, because I would say like we're not, sometimes I think like basically I'm not Indian enough to go to India because I'm British, but I'm not like white. So.
Yeah, it's finding that balance. But I mean, even though it's annoying that we have to go through like these pressures, it's nice that like our community and people our age have sort of dealt with the same sort of things, and now as we go forward to be parents of our own, we can end some of the cycle and like change some of the things that we experience. Like you said, like I'm sure our parents have even done that with us.
There's things that they're like
and now we are going to do with our kids. So though it changes from person to person, like we've all gone through something similar.
So I guess we're ending on the note that it's like started off fun and crazy, and it's like improved a lot, and everyone's different, but I feel like there's this blanket strictness of Asians, but there's like a switch that gets flipped at some age. It's like fun to live like multiculturally.
Depending on who's listening to this, if you're still going through things like this where your parents aren't really understanding and you've had to do some of these things, like
hiding things,
it's really hard, but like just keep going. Like I know that's like really general advice, but like you honestly just push through, and then as you get older you'll find ways to break those barriers and just live your life.
Telling younger us what we're doing now, I'd be like, you're lying.
I
like,
wouldn't
you're
believe
literally,
myself.
you're actually lying.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to do this, you're allowed to do that, you're in this industry of work, instead of like being a doctor or like we didn't even get into that, just about like school and that strictness.
And even like dating people outside of our ethnicities is like a whole, we might have to do like a part 2 on this, but
school was crazy. There's like that pressure of being like, these are the industries you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, you have to do XYZ, which is like amazing careers, but it's like if you tell them about anything creative, it's like no, because there's no money there. When there is a large amount of money, but like Isabel said, it's all subject to your own parents and how strict they are, but it's changed and it's good.
But it's nice. I'm glad that like, oh my god, we're ending on a corny note, but I'm glad that we've had each other at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't have siblings, but you've been my siblings like in this situation, and you guys obviously have each other, but also like when you want like a friend and not like a sister to talk to, like I'm here as well, but, like down the road. And we also have a group of like Indian girls as well, who have gone through similar things, so it's nice to know that we have each other as well. It is quite cathartic to have like talked about this. Anything else to add?
We were gonna play Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Oh, let's be quick.
Because we got a guest on our show, we're playing Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Yeah. Let me think. Kiss, Marry, Kill. Slapping your kids. Forcing your child to do a STEM degree. Or
being with someone either in your culture or outside of your culture.
Yeah.
Well, which one?
Which one?
Outside. Being outside your culture.
Go on, Raina.
Like this is a rigged game.
What's the second one?
Being forced to do like a STEM degree.
Oh gosh. Kill that.
Yeah. Really?
Not even.
Okay.
That's kiss slapping up your kid.
Okay.
I think some kids need to be slapped up.
Actually.
Yeah.
Personally, I've worked with kids.
We've all worked at Kumon.
Also work in retail. Some kids need it, okay?
And then kiss.
And then marrying someone outside of your ethnicity.
That's fair.
Even though she doesn't want to, I don't think.
No, I mean...
Anyway.
We might have to do a part 2 of all these things.
We might. But yeah, hope you enjoyed listening to this.
By the way, we started filming and it was
pissing it down.
So sorry about the lightning and the sound not lightning.
Not lightning.
Sorry for the rain and the sound.
Yeah. It's literally like so foggy in the car. If you can see.
Thanks, Raina.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We loved having you.
We go inside the house.
Hopefully we can do another podcast with other guests, or you can come back for another one.
Yeah, if you're like her.
Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Whoa, subscribe. Have you not seen that
Asian kid that's like subscribe.
Subscribe.
No,
Oh my god.
What? Rate our podcast 5 stars on Spotify if you like it.
If they don't, then rate us.
Rate it anyway.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, I don't
What
care.
you mean?
What you mean?
What you mean?
Just rate it 5 stars anyway, okay?
Okay then. Bye.
Rate 5 stars if you got slapped up as a kid.
Oh, God. We gotta go.
Bye.